Welcome to the Masked Man Show. I'm David Shoemaker. I'm here with Playboy Nick Mundy.
Yeah, well, I always went with Husky Steve Kazee.
Oh, okay, Husky Steve Kazee, Nick Mundy.
But now I'm same Dave Schilling.
Same Dave Schilling. Shouts to Dave Schilling, who is at the hospital right now in preparation for the birth of Sid Justice Schilling.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
And then when he gets into his teens, it'll be Sid Vicious.
I like it.
It's just like, can you have like a malleable name on a birth certificate? We should do that.
I think so. I think you should be able to like adjust it once you become like a man.
Yeah, I think it's totally fine.
And for those of you who don't think like people of different races and creeds and like beliefs can't come together, a Dodger fan asked an Astros fan during the World Series, the game of Game 7, hey, can you fill in for me?
Yeah.
And I said yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm better.
Because
I mean, just because, like, of course I would help my brother who's, like, you know, awaiting the birth of his child on Game 7.
It's this is a big baseball day.
Yeah.
I live about 15 feet from Dodger Stadium.
You poor bastard.
I was trick-or-treating during most of the game last night, but I was, I accidentally timed it so that I was walking back right past the shortstop, which is like the classic Dodgers dive bar, right as the game was ending. And it just like, I knew the game was over because I heard screams as if like there was just something terrible going on, but it was a good scream.
Did you see any good wrestling costumes?
I didn't see any wrestling costumes yesterday. Saw a lot on Twitter.
Sure.
But none in real life.
Have you ever dressed up for...
I saw Kevin Love's costume. Did you see Kevin Love?
That was pretty good.
Kevin Love as Wolfpack Sting and his girlfriend as... Yeah, you know, his girlfriend as Hollywood Hogan was the highlight of my day. I'm really pushing for the Ringer to trade for Kevin Love.
Sure.
I feel like we have the assets to pull it off.
Goodbye, Steve.
Huh?
Goodbye, Steve Kazee.
Yeah. All you guys are getting shipped out. It's just going to be me and Kevin Love talking Raw from now on. Anyway, speaking of Raw and speaking of children, we got the return of Stephanie McMahon on Monday, which is, are you past the point? We got Shane's return was enormous. I feel like we're a little bit past the point of being like, holy shit, a McMahon is back.
I'm post McMahon.
Oh,
at this point, Shane was cool.
Yeah.
Last year, but now it's like. Now they obviously look at Shane as an attraction, and I'm just like, no, the dude has kids. I don't want to see this guy like hurt anymore. Like the jobs of like Vince McMahon and then his kids was to put people over.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like that's happening anymore. Like that's not their purpose anymore. Now they're like. Now they are the attraction instead of putting the attraction over.
Well, sure. I mean, there's been lots of word over the years that like the USA Network certainly sees them as such, right? I mean that there've been times where Vince came back and the fans are like, wait, why now and not at the pay-per-view or whatever? And the answer is like USA has asked Vince to appear. Similar things have happened with Stephanie and Triple H. And Shane's been out of the picture for so long that I don't know his name's been tied up in that, but. When Michael Cole on Monday night said, I believe this is the first time that we've seen Stephanie since WrestleMania, I was just like, oh, wow. Like, that was
one of the things it had going for her. And I like Stephanie. I like Shane, but I'm so tired of this authority crap.
Yeah.
Like, no more authority stuff. Like, I'm even post GM right now.
Yeah.
Like, Kurt Angle's done with post GM. Like, Daniel Bryan's, and we'll get into, I'm sure, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
I just don't think we need it right now. Like, I would like to do like 6 months of no authority type figure.
And no backstage. No. You're saying you don't want any insight into the matchmaking process. It's just like an old episode of Saturday Morning WWF.
Not as much as that. Like have a narrative to it, of course. But like, let's just have like have a big heel that controls it. Like sometimes Triple H was a champion and he was like running the show.
Right.
Like, I don't mind that. Like, if you had a heel champion that was there, have Jinder run it for right now, for all intents and purposes.
Sure.
Like, have that, and then have the card go down from there. But we don't need, like, well, you're wrestling this guy because I said so.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think it's...
Well, that used to be the biggest highlight when they were like the famous clipboard shows where, like, Mick Foley would show up and say, like, I'm just going to put on some matches that people would like, And, But yeah, we're so far removed from that because we're not putting on matches necessarily that people would like.
We're just getting the same matches over and over again.
Right, with the weird like window dressing of like, Kurt Angle made this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Kurt Angle, to his credit, had a great night on Monday. I gotta say, Monday Night's Raw for an episode that didn't have any shocking, I mean, unless you want to call Stephanie's return shocking, whatever, but any like shocking returns, any like, super significant moments?
Well, it did have maybe the best return. Granted, it only lasted a week. But with Braun Strowman.
Oh, yeah. No, there were some big moments, but it wasn't like we're going to remember that time Braun Strowman came back. Sure. We're certainly not going to remember Samoa Joe's return, which was just Samoa Joe appearing.
Yeah, except though, like I do like that they focus on that, and they did make that a big deal instead of actually just walking in and, hey, Samoa Joe's back.
Sure, but it wasn't. I mean, yeah, but it also could have been Samoa Joe running in on somebody, like actually kickstarting his feud, sure. Whatever's going to happen. All what I'm trying to say is I thought it was a great episode of Raw. It really felt like it's a coherent 3 hours for the first time in a long time.
Maybe in a couple of months. Again, I've been distracted a little bit with baseball, but like, so wrestling's been taking like lower priority list. But like,
that was losing your nerd cred right now.
No, I know, but like that was an enjoyable. Both Raw and SmackDown were great because last week I was like, why am I watching this? It was one of those weeks.
Yeah.
Whereas like, why do I do this to myself?
Sometimes it feels that way. Sometimes it really feels that way.
I do feel like there's like, you can kind of tell when WWE is clicking and when it's not. When a year ago WWE was clicking, they had distinctive voices in each shows. They were doing great matches. There was a lot of fun leading up to that Survivor Series. And right now I feel like they're just throwing shit against the wall.
Yeah.
And you can feel when they don't necessarily have a great direction.
Well, the fact that Kurt Angle went from like on the permanent physically unable to perform list to now main eventing 2 pay-per-views in a row, not just filling in the one, but he's going to be the, like the team captain at Survivor Series that's evidence. Maybe it's a little bit of like, you stumble into something good, strike while the iron's hot, pick your bad metaphor, but it also feels like they're just grasping at straws.
Yeah, and I just heard rumors now that there's going to be a Triple H Kurt Angle main event at WrestleMania. Not maybe main event, but like one of the premier matches.
Ooh.
So we're all leading to that.
Last week we started breaking down the Survivor Series card with very limited information. This week we know a lot more. I love that as soon as Survivor Series season starts, now we're like making like real significant speculation about WrestleMania, which is fun, but I think I'm just going to call it right now. In 2018, the Masked Man Show is enforcing a wrestling off season. They're going to keep having TV shows, but I'm going to pick 2 months where we're just not paying attention to wrestling.
I think you got to do that like right. We should have done it like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, we missed it. Now we have to. Now like there's implications to everything.
Because
nothing changed in 2 months, except the Shield came back, kind of, but not really.
The Shield came back. I love to get Stephanie's thing. I mean, I know that Kurt put on the outfit and everything, but Stephanie, when she like explicitly said that he joined the Shield, maybe someone else said that, from the announce desk. It's like, do you really join the Shield? It's like you're an honorary member for a night, but you didn't like join the Shield.
No, he was a guy.
And if you can join the Shield, then other people should be wanting to join the Shield.
Well, then you're going to get the Shield, and then you're going to get Shield end up Hollywood, and then Shield Wolfpack. Okay, maybe that's a great idea.
Yeah, and Kevin Love will be dressing as one of those Shield Wolfpack members someday for Halloween. All right, let's run down this Raw card. There's not a lot of like stuff to grab onto. I mean, aside from the returns that we discussed, I want to make sure we get everything. Stephanie and Triple H, great opening show. I mean, Stephanie and Kurt Angle, great show promo. Kurt Angle throughout the night with his like weird nervousness and backstage stuff. He is a hit and miss actor, but when he hits, he is a very fine actor.
Yeah, it's when his eyes like sink to the back of his head and he can't move his like left and right. That's when he like falls apart. But that's
Nia Jax beat Bayley to be on the Women's Survivor Series team. I was a little bit surprised to even when I had to pull out the roster and do the math that there was like going to be women eliminated from the Survivor Series teams. I didn't realize
it might just be Bayley.
Yeah, and Bayley will probably find her way back onto the team if knowing Bayley.
Well, no, because you got Asuka. You got Sasha.
Asuka, Sasha, Nia Jax is going to be in it. Samoa Joe is back. He beat up Apollo Crews. Samoa Joe is. We were texting a little bit about this last night. Samoa Joe, there is so much good talking in wrestling right now.
Yes. No, and he might be one of the best.
I'm trying to think of what wrestler, just straight up wrestler I I would put above him on the Raw roster.
Miz.
Yeah. Yeah, of course you have to put. I mean, Miz has the breadth to do a lot of different things.
And Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose have gotten better now that they're together.
Oh yeah,
I'm not saying
I don't not enjoy hearing them talk.
Sure, but like I'm just trying to think of like the best guys right now.
I mean, listen, he's great. Stephanie McMahon, whatever you think of her return, is better at telling a story in a promo than anybody else employed by the company. She's head and shoulders better than her brother. Who can't get a hashtag out sometimes. I mean, there's it's like
she's incredibly talented. Like,
sometimes Shane is like, they talk. Some wrestlers like to have the whole thing written out. Some of them like to totally make it up on the fly, and some go off the bullet points. Sometimes it's like Shane gets the bullet points and thinks he has a paragraph, and so he just reads. He just says 5-sentence fragments, and then he's like done with the promo.
Usos match good.
Yeah. But Stephanie, that opening promo there was a lot of silly stuff. But you got to go. You have to be over the top. That's her role, you know. Like I don't know the degree to which Kurt Angle shamed the Raw brand.
I think she did a great job, and she always does a great job. I think it's the whole premise of, the authority figure is what it's like. Oh, okay, I mean, but like she did the job, and like maybe if that's all she's going to be there for, it's great. As long as it doesn't become like McMahon versus McMahon again. Like if it's Shane versus Angle, that'd be great. Well, dream match would be like, imagine if Daniel Bryan versus Kurt Angle leading these teams.
Yeah.
Here's a problem I did have with Raw.
Quit fantasy booking Daniel Bryan into this, though.
Yeah. Here is a problem I did have with Raw.
Okay.
So we're gonna hot shot the new hot new wrestling prospect Kane, and put him over all of our top guys.
I'm very conflicted about this.
Like, I guess this is all just to set up Braun versus Kane, but
yeah, that's what it is. You have to make him seem like a legitimate monster for Braun Strowman to destroy.
Yeah, and then over the sake of like Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, two of the guys who a year ago I was thinking would have been the top guys in WWE.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, he's. I mean, I guess the Rollins match wasn't bad. The Rollins match wasn't. I mean, I don't care. I mean, the Finn Balor match doesn't break my heart or anything, but I understand the take that like you're sort of burying Balor at the expense of pushing Kane. I don't think the Rollins match was that. There was a lot of I think
it was more. It was more well balanced, but this is all just in theory to make Braun, and I mean we can kind of lead there. I mean they're making Braun a huge babyface.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I said this last week. What was surprising to me is that WWE didn't register that he was already a babyface.
Yeah, I know that was 6 months ago for us.
Yeah,
last time I was here, we were talking about it.
Listen, so all of that was to say, I thought Stephanie's promo was fantastic.
Sure.
For what it was. Corey Graves, who's now, I don't know if he's going to have to sit out Survivor Series or if he's just going to, be calling the whole show because he's, doing.
Just let him do it by himself.
Yeah, just let that. That's probably the better option. He is on another level.
He literally makes the show better sometimes when the show is not as great.
And Michael Cole's better when he's playing off of him. Certainly Tom Phillips and he have great chemistry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and the way that Corey can work, he works heel in a more authentic way than most heel commentators, right? I mean, he's not like JBL, just like total, just like
I wouldn't even call him a
heels.
heel commentator. I would call him like just a modern day color guy.
Sure, and that's the point that I'm making is that he roots for. I mean, he is ostensibly on the side of most of the heels, although he's internally consistent. The people that have made face turns since he's been on commentary, he still likes them.
He's still shitting on Enzo.
Yeah, he hates Enzo. He hates he hates Elias.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just great. It's great continuity.
You know what? I feel like I've been negative, but here's something I want to focus on the positive. The cruiserweights have been great for like the last month.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm really enjoying the cruiserweight stuff. They're finally giving them stuff to do.
Sure.
Like the tag team between Alexander and.
Oh, yeah. That's what we were talking last week, trying to figure out if they were a tag team.
They are. They're looking for names. And are
they talking about that on 205 Live?
Yeah. On Twitter, they were prompting the fans for names.
Everything they're doing on 205 Live is really good. My only hang up is that you know, some of the, like, I don't like Enzo's posse. There's not a lot of, no, I like the guys that are in it, but it's just sort of like a random assortment of characters.
But I think you're already, well, you know what? This is what I want to do. Because, like, SmackDown was pretty good, too. But I wanted to present you, like, I think the top, I tried to come up with 5, but I came up with top 4 things happening in the WWE right now. Called the Mount Rushmore. Mundy's Mount Rushmore.
Let's do it.
Of wrestling. Here's the thing.
This is just top 4 things? 5
I tried
things?
to come up with 5. Maybe we'll come up with the 5th one.
All right. Happening in WWE.
Yeah,
at
right
the
now.
moment. All right.
Yeah, okay. Because it's going to cover SmackDown and Raw and 205 Live.
Okay.
Here's the thing. The Miz is the greatest, the MVP of WWE. He's been for a year, and he keeps getting better.
Yeah, I agree. And please stop, everyone in the world stop demanding him his face turn. He does not need to.
No. What fool would do such a thing?
I see that all the time.
No, I want him to be the biggest heel ever. I want him to do more heelish stuff. And you're also talking about, like, people think, like, he got buried by Braun.
Yeah.
This is just the beginning. Like, Miz is going to give him his best match ever.
Sure.
And there's going to be nothing but, like, gaga, as it were. And it's going to be insane, but it's going to be the best match. Because I didn't get to talk about it with you guys after Survivor Series, but his realization that, like, oh my God, we committed murder.
Yeah.
We killed a man was my favorite thing in wrestling the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And he's just making everything great. He made the Shield reunion feel important. He's elevated Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah.
Everything he does is great.
I agree.
He's the only reason I give a shit about Kane in the least bit. And he's making Braun look like a face monster, which is something WWE didn't even think it was possible.
Sure.
And I think he's not going to get the credit he deserves or the accolades he deserves or the WrestleMania match he deserves. But he is by far and away the best thing WWE has going for him.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know, like, maybe this is a trendy internet pick, but, like, I feel like I honest to God believe it.
Yeah. All right. So that's number 1. The Miz.
2, Big E and Rusev need pushes. They need to go on singles runs, and they need to be featured more prominently in WWE because they are stars.
Yeah.
Like, that match was great. There was a bunch of nonsense. I don't mind the nonsense. I don't want to break up New Day. I just want to freebirds them.
I totally agree.
Big E should be a superstar. Like, he should be a champion. Like, and he would be. And Rusev, too. Like, I've been wanting to make Rusev a face for years. Like, a pro-American, I love America face. Like, Yakov Smirnoff meets Rusev. He should be, like, it's as much as, like, you know, oh, why aren't they doing more with Nakamura? Why aren't they doing more with Finn Balor? Why aren't they doing more with, you know, you could even argue the Shield guy. You get, like, Big E and Rusev are everything that Vince wants in wrestlers.
One would think, yeah.
I mean, what do you think the issue is? Or do you think it'll ever happen?
I mean, they certainly both of them got great looks in developmental. I mean, they were positioned to be big stars, and I think Big E, I think both of them got too much too soon in a lot of ways. You know, I mean,
I think that's everyone's problem with.
Yeah, yeah. It was I think that both of them could be really great, and their match on Tuesday night was a million times better than I expected it to be.
Sure.
I mean, then one would have expected it to be. They both have the talent to have a really good match, but
like, they were allowed to have this match.
Yeah,
almost.
Absolutely. And that, you know, Big E in the Akeem costume, all of those New Day costumes were top notch.
New Day has taken another level as far as, like, you know, that Hell in the Cell match, like, and it's just not Big E. Like, Xavier is he's leveled up wrestling wise. Like, he could run all over cruiserweights.
Xavier?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure that they want to pigeonhole him as a cruiserweight, because I think that he could, you know, run with the other guys too. But
yeah, and I would give Kofi a main event run. Like, because, you know, he's getting older. He might not have that many years left in it. Like, if the three of them were headlining take a SmackDown pay-per-view. And give them 3 main event matches, singles.
I agree.
Like US
those old in your house shows where it would just be like all the DX guys get title shots.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally, 100% in on that.
All right, so that was number 2. Number 3,
By the way, mad props to Rusev's backstage when he was doing that, when he confronted the New Day about and smashed their candy, and then Big E challenged him to a match. He said, "I believe I'd be elated to," which was hilarious on its own terms. Stood out slightly, and multiple people online have pointed out that he learned the word elated 2 weeks ago in a backstage promo with Renee Young, and that's why he used it. I mean, it's amazing.
Genius.
Yeah.
All right, top 3 of this countdown. Anytime Braun Strowman runs. Anytime Braun Strowman runs, it's my favorite thing in WWE.
Yeah.
Like, when he was just chasing after the Miz Taraj and then beat the shit out of him, I was like, this is your WrestleMania champion.
I had a really weird kayfabe moment during that whole thing where the Miz was one of my. I think if I had to pick one, just a random gifable moment that was my favorite thing of the whole night, it was Rusev after like tossing, I believe it was Curtis Axel down the ramp, and in the background Miz is crawling to get backstage in the most like incredible animated way. Looks like he's lost the use of his legs. It was really, really great physical comedy. But I had that terrible kayfabe moment where I'm like, why does getting backstage save the Miz? And why is Braun Strowman running after him to make sure he doesn't get into gorilla position?
No, and it's perfect. But like the camera angles, like it was overproduced, but like I loved it. I liked that they tried to do it. It made no goddamn sense.
Yeah, the camera shot where like Rusev popped up out of the trash. I mean, Braun Strowman popped up out of the trash was just one of the great things.
And just like the editing was a little slow and they didn't have the pacing right, but I still was like, it was great. And like they made Braun, and this goes back to the Miz, they made Braun a huge babyface.
Yeah, it was great.
Grant, we knew a year ago.
Okay. So what's the top 4 so far?
Okay, the Miz, best thing in WWE.
Right. Rusev and Big E.
Yes.
Need big shots.
Braun Strowman running.
Okay.
4, Drew Gulak. I know I've been using a lot of hyperbole. I laughed my ass off in that interview with Enzo. He made Enzo enjoyable for the first time in years.
Yeah. Without like undercutting him, without like taking the shine off of him, without whatever. It was really good.
And like that's a character. Like, and he did the thumbs up and he spelled soft SOFT. Like that's a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like this could propel him. I love when guys take natural moments like what New Day did, what Miz has done, and just they just make their own, like what the fashion, like to an extent.
Sure.
I like natural moments, and that was a real genuine moment that will like this could make the guy's career.
Yeah.
Just with that, like, and the fact that it's like never been done. The guy who sucks at promos and he's trying so hard and he's just white as hell.
Yeah.
And he can't, and like how, like, and it made Enzo better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
because if they want to turn Enzo back to a face, you got the perfect heel in the cruiserweights.
In Gulak.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, watching Gulak go, I mean, I know that I shouldn't, like 205 Live, you're right, it's incredibly enjoyable. Even and the cruiserweight stuff on Raw, has been really fun. But yeah, when somebody hits a level like Gulak's at right now in promos, you're just like, oh, like in another era, he would have just been on the main roster. Sure, he's small, but like he could be like the Genius or be, like whoever. I mean, he's very, very good.
And so that was my top 4. I kept trying to come up with the 5th one. I don't want to be negative. The Ziggler Rude stuff was good, but they still don't know what's doing up with Rude.
No.
Hopefully he can shine in the Survivor Series. Okay, maybe this is it. I kind of got excited about Nakamura and Orton
being friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense.
It's taken a few weeks, but I might be there too.
It makes no sense and it's stupid.
Yeah.
But like, the thing that got me excited was, and this is a thing that could make Nakamura what he should be, is a heel Orton versus Nakamura. And I feel like every time I'm on the show, I'm talking about, let's turn Orton heel. Turn Orton heel.
Yeah. Yes. I agree. Yeah, but I'm mostly there too. He's so much more effective as a heel.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think I think from like a dollars and cents perspective, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Orton to be a heel unless he's in the main event, right? Unless he's like because as a baby face, he can still go out and sell tickets and sell merch, sure. and kids will show up to see Randy Orton fight, right? But Randy Orton as a heel is a much more effective character, but you have to be doing something with him. You have to have the authority. You have to build the main event picture around him.
I know what the fifth thing is. It's the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens thing, which has been great.
I'm glad that you said that.
Versus, but like feuding with Nakamura and Orton, which shouldn't make sense, which feels cobbled together. But I think it's going to be enjoyable as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, part of the most interesting thing in wrestling for me right now, and this is like such a cop-out, is trying to like do like, you know, have like the crazy person whiteboard in my house or chalkboard where I'm trying to figure out how we're going to manage the AJ Styles Jinder Mahal feud, and also as it seems like they're setting up this like tag team feud that you were just mentioning, and like to deal with that with Survivor Series kind of hanging out there. You can say the same thing for Rude and Ziggler if we think that's going to keep going, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, and that was one cool thing about that Rusev did was like his whole thing about being mad at the New Day was taking the Raw thing really seriously.
Yeah,
like, and that's another thing that I love about the Rusev thing is that he, along with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they're right. They're absolutely right.
Here's my yes, I totally agree. The strangest thing that's happening to me on SmackDown is that Sami Zayn was right about everything I mean, for the most part, right about everything that he said about Shane McMahon. Yeah. And that's what, and I said at the time, that's what makes every heel turn better, is if they have actual like righteous indignation, what they're mad about. Like they're right, they're correct. Either they believe it or it's actually true, but that gives it so much more power. The funny thing is that Shane is like doubled down in the aftermath and is actually just a heel. I mean, like
he's full on heel.
Right.
And then I don't think they realize it though.
It's confusing because Shane McMahon is not Stone Cold Steve Austin just like showing up out of the blue and stunning people, right? I mean, Shane McMahon invading another show and starting like a gang fight, beating people down, that's a heel move.
Yeah.
I don't know if I were them, I would have just gone like just doubled down on it. And when he's like in the ring on Tuesday night, he should have just been. It shouldn't have been like we had an all hands meeting to decide what to do. He should have just been like, I offered everyone on the SmackDown roster $50,000 to go with me and beat up Raw wrestlers.
I think they're trying to Hart Foundation it.
I think to make it work both ways.
Yeah. I think they're trying to. When they're on Raw, they're the heels, but when SmackDown, hey, this is our show, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll play, but because what it plays right now is Sami Zayn's not a heel because he's right and he did the right things and he turned. They're just the good guys.
Yeah.
And Shane and everyone else are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because even the Daniel Bryan thing, you know, he's like, no, Shane's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Shane's a bad guy. Like,
so what do we think about Daniel Bryan? Let's jump back to Raw really quick. What do we think about Daniel Bryan showing up, you know, doing a little babyface thing with Kurt and then getting beaten up by Kane? Is that gonna lead to something else? Is that part of they seem to harp on it a little bit too long on the rest of Raw and then on SmackDown as if this was the parting shot and what was going to be a bigger storyline. I don't really understand.
I think it's either two things. The return of Daniel Bryan.
Don't get my hopes up.
Or goodbye Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
There's a very good. I mean, sure, there's a good shot. It means nothing.
That seems like a lot to expect, but at the same time,
we're heading towards that.
It did feel like they were amping it up in a certain way. Before we get to it too far away, The Miz beat Matt Hardy. Which, by the way, anytime someone's a heel is standing in the ring and they're like, "I have a surprise opponent for you." I mean, I swear to God, I heard the Hardy music playing 10 seconds before it started playing because it just appeared in my head. I knew what was happening. And on the most recent episode of Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, he talked about how like they don't really care backstage about the length of the match. It's like the length of time between first guy goes out to start cutting the promo and then all the way till like the last guy leaves the arena.
Sure.
There was I definitely had that feeling when Matt Hardy came out where I was just like, I'm excited that the music's playing. I'm excited that he's coming out. Let's just go to commercial for the whole match. You know, let's I don't need to see what happens here. Or you can push fast forward, I guess, depending on how you're watching. Asuka had a dominant outing. What do you think about Emma getting fired, by the way? Speaking of Asuka opponents, Emma, wait, who was it? It was Emma. Who else got let go? Summer Rae and Darren Young.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Emma got let go.
You know what, man? I think we're going to have a lot more of this.
Yeah.
Like, Finn Balor put up a gravestone with "bye" on it, and then everyone thought the Good Brothers were gone. Like, yesterday. Like,
yeah.
I don't think it's happy times over in WWE right now.
Huh.
Yeah, it just feels like a lot of uneasiness, and it's a lot of, hey, maybe we could go. I mean, I know that there was like rumors of like a mass exodus, and those were kind of shot down. I don't know, man. Like, and then this goes back to the Daniel Bryan thing. I think we need to prepare ourselves. Like, I think we're either heading towards Daniel Bryan's going to return, or he's going to be in a PWG show that we're all going to try to get tickets to. He's going to be in Ring of Honor. And
I know that PWG's business model will never change, but if they get Daniel Bryan,
like, go to the forum. Go to the forum right now.
Go to the forum, man.
Like,
I will talk Bill Simmons into backing that show.
I think
we'll put up some money. Put up some ringer money.
No, and as long as they sell Blu-rays. I mean, I think that's the most underrated storyline in the next 12 months.
Daniel Bryan.
9 months. Yeah.
No, it's going to be big. That and where does Emma show up? If Emma's at PWG, we're all going to be there too, right?
Yeah, well, she'll be at Ring of Honor. But the thing. All right, we have a few more minutes left, and maybe we can just focus on the show on this. I think New Japan is gaining in popularity. New Japan Ring of Honor. Yeah. More people watching, more eyeballs on it.
Mm-hmm.
They need a piece to like legitimize it to like the everyman fan, which like I'm interested in what happens in Ring of Honor New Japan.
Uh-huh.
I'm not ordering pay-per-views every week.
Yeah.
Or every month. I'm like more than casual, but not like super fan with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Bryan could do that.
Yeah.
At least for a couple of months. You're going to want to watch him, and like that's a huge move, and that could be the move that like really it's not going to create like a Monday Night War.
Yeah.
But it's going to create, cuz like a couple more people are probably going to go back.
Daniel Bryan would be great. I mean, I think there is a question about his limitation, right? So even if he wrestles again, is he going to be able to wrestle full time? Is whatever. But
the spectacle of it is.
Listen, I totally agree. If I were going to completely, if someone was just like, you're in charge of New Japan's American product, let's figure out how to make this work, and I had the ability to sort of reimagine. I mean, you have an opportunity to sort of like build a new product.
Yeah.
You know? All of this wrestling happened. Like, you have it all, and it's all on the air or whatever, but you just got to like figure out the way in. I would book it like a wrestling video game. You find your star, and whether that's Daniel Bryan, if he can go, night after night, or you find somebody a little bit on the younger side.
Daniel Bryan could be their Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. But here's what I would do. Just you find an American star that American fans all like, that they can, or it doesn't have to be a star, but someone younger who has a big career ahead of them, and actually just book a weekly show in addition to the regular stuff. That's just that wrestler climbing the ranks, and it's like part reality show, backstage stuff, and it ends every week with them wrestling a match against an established New Japan star and losing or winning or whatever, and that's the show. And you just have like 30 minutes to 45 minutes a week of just, this is how this world works. This is me trying to make it. This is me having meetings backstage with people that matter. And then this is me losing to an established mid-carder because I haven't earned my spot yet, or I haven't shown them enough yet. And then week after week, it just gets deeper and deeper until eventually he has a big match at a pay-per-view. He's got a bigger match. He's got a bigger match, and just follow him the whole way through.
Yeah, no, I mean that.
And Daniel Bryan, I mean, man, he could be huge for them. WWE is going to have a weird decision to make with him.
Because then, I mean, like with the Kurt Angle thing, or do you just like, hey, all he wants to do is wrestle a few times. He probably doesn't want to do a full-time schedule. Do they give in?
I'm not sure if that's true with Daniel Bryan.
Okay, but do you think Daniel Bryan would be like, hey, WWE money plus like a couple of wrestling matches a year? Like, that's the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah, I think that would be interesting to him. But then, I mean, with Bryan, I love the guy to death, but we have, he came back from an injury, came back from concussions, right? And the next thing we knew, he was like headbutting Dolph Ziggler on the top of a ladder at WrestleMania for 5 minutes. I mean, it's like the guy goes full speed no matter what. Still jumping off the top rope, doing all that stuff. I mean, it would be hard to imagine, I think.
Well, he's married now. He's got a kid. It's a little, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think this is the biggest story in wrestling right now.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And the Kurt Angle thing, I think, just exacerbates it.
I think the biggest story in wrestling is it's either Daniel Bryan or or Summer Rae being future endeavored. One of those two things.
Well, because New Japan's going to want to try to pluck either Finn Balor or Seth Rollins.
That's going to take a lot of money, man. Finn told us that he had. We interviewed him, and the audio was literally indecipherable. Yeah, but he said he's never watched a moment of New Japan since he signed with WWE.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, it's gonna be like, I think it's all better for wrestling, but I think we're gonna get a lot more future endeavors pretty soon. And they can all show up on Ryback's.
Letting them go is like it's like it's emotional.
I think it's terrible. I think she was amazing. I think Bad Emma was really great.
Yeah,
I don't know
how
why
is she not useful.
I don't know
Maybe
why
she has to release. Who knows?
I mean, you can build her up. Like, you can use her to build her up. Like, because they still have no idea what to do with the women's division.
It's true. Speaking of women, we got to get out of here. But before that was not. Wait till what I say next. It'll make more sense. I texted this to some friends. I was watching TV late at night the other night and saw just WWE on the dial. And so I was like, oh, is this like a weekend clip show or like whatever? It was a fully produced commercial for some health supplement called Omega XL that I think Larry King has done fake infomercials for too. And this had like Michael Cole and Renee Young like sitting in a studio talking about this stuff seriously, then interviewing Charlotte and Rollins and Kofi and The Miz, and just like they were like just talking about like this is a fully produced WWE production infomercial.
Is Ico Pro back?
Yeah, no, and it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. I encourage everyone to like go find this on YouTube. I don't encourage you to use the product. I know nothing about the product. It certainly did not seem like a reputable supplement, but if you're ever longing for the days of kayfabe from our youth, watch this commercial because this is 4 WWE superstars and 2 of the top tier announcers just selling the hell out of a product that my guess is none of them have ever even like seen in person.
I can't wait to watch this.
Yeah, you should definitely check it out. Thanks for listening. Thanks to you, Nick Mundy, for coming on the show. What do you want to plug?
Check out the Team Tiger Awesome show on the Jericho Network on Podcast One. Chris Jericho's our boss, and he lets us do whatever the hell we want to.
When's he coming back?
He's coming back soon. Oh, for wrestling or for the show?
Yeah, for wrestling. Give us the scoop.
Hopefully soon, man. They need him.
Yeah.
Like, he's growing his hair back out, too, and he's wearing headbands. He's gotten real weird. Like, they could use him.
Headband is the new scarf. All right.
Well, Sammy versus Jericho. That would be great.
Yeah, it would be really good. Anything else?
No, that's it. Check out that and then the other stuff.
All right. All right. You can tweet us at Masked Man Show on Twitter. I'm at David Shoemaker. You can tweet Dave Schilling at Dave_Schilling and wish him best wishes on the birth of his child.
Congratulations, Dave.
Congratulations, Dave.
Oh, yeah, I'm Dick Fundy on Twitter.
Yeah, at Dick Fundy. This is the Masked Man Show, part of the Ringer Podcast Network. Apologies, as always, to Dean Ambrose. We'll see you back here next week, humanoids.